So in part A is just asking you to explain in your own words what the angle-angle similarity criterion is. And what this says is if you have two triangles and obviously they're not congruent, maybe one's bigger than the other, if at least two of the angles are congruent, then that means that the triangles are similar. So that's the angle-angle criterion. You just need two angles to be congruent for the triangles to be similar. So then they're asking us to examine this picture here on the left and identify the triangles and their corresponding angles. So what I like to do is first kind of take apart this blue triangle and focus in on the two triangles I see there. And I've drawn the triangles over on the right, but let me show you where I found them. First, there is this big triangle with angles 1, 2, and 7. And then there's a smaller one inside with angles 2, 5, and 7. So if we're looking at these two triangles and trying to figure out if they're similar, then remember we need to have at least two angles that are congruent. So let's find those corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are formed when you have parallel lines and it's cut by what they call a transversal, another line. And what I'm showing you here is that there are two parallel lines. That's what this symbol means. This is saying that these two lines are parallel, and then they are cut by this transversal and this transversal. So again, when you have two parallel lines that are cut by a transversal, then you have these corresponding angles that are congruent. Corresponding angles are in the same spot. So if we look here at angle 2, do you see another angle that's in the same spot? Meaning underneath the green line and to the right of the red line? Angle 6. Angle 2 and 6 are corresponding angles and they are congruent. Now let's see if we can find any others. How about here? Which angle is corresponding to angle 1? So above the green line, to the right of the red line. This one right here. 1 and 5 are corresponding angles, so they are congruent. So let's label these congruent angles on the triangles on the previous page. Remember we said angles 2 and 6 were congruent. So 2 and 6, these are congruent because they're corresponding angles. And then we also said 1 and 5. So 1 and 5. There's also one other angle that is congruent, and that is 7. This is angle 7. Let's say this is 40 degrees. Angle 7 is 40 degrees. Well, angle 7 is also a part of the green triangle, so it's also 40 degrees here. So if an angle is in both triangles, that means it is congruent to itself. So in this case, we have actually 3 sets of angles that are congruent in each of these triangles. So remember, you just need at least 2 congruent angles. This one we have 3, which is even better. So therefore, we know that these are similar triangles.